Have you ever thought about making a life off the grid? If so, it's probably a good idea to know what states are the best for that type of life. What is going on, everyone? Let's take a look at 10 of the best states for homesteading. Homesteading is a lifestyle committed to self-sufficiency. Homesteaders like to grow their own food, raise their own food, whatever you want to do. They provide their own electricity through renewable sources like solar and wind, and sometimes they go all the way and actually make the textiles and their own clothing. Yeah, you know, nothing gets my motor running like a lady in a grass skirt and a burlap bra. There's a million and one reasons people prefer this type of life. Most of the time these days, it's taken up by people wanting to lessen their carbon footprint. You know, they want to save the planet, go green, all that good stuff. But there are a lot of things to take into consideration before making the jump off the grid. Got to figure out land prices. Is the land good for farming? Homesteading laws, or do they even allow homesteading in this state? You got to worry about the climate, water accessibility, and how's the community going to react to you homesteading and living like this? This list took all those things into consideration and we came up with the 10 best. So if you're looking to be one with the land, this list is for you. In no particular order, this is what we found. Number 10, Michigan. If you're one of those people that think Michigan is just Detroit and Flint, I'm here to tell you it's not. Michigan is a beautiful state. Detroit and Flint aren't the best, but every state has cities like that. Maybe not as bad as those two, but you get the idea. Michigan is a great place for homesteaders, and a lot of homesteaders are there right now. The soil is fertile, making it a great place to grow crops during their short part of the year where you can grow crops. But Lake Michigan, ponds, creeks, rivers, everything they got there provides the ability to fish for trout, salmon, pretty much all year round. Well, you know, different seasons for different fish, but you know what I mean. There are many homesteaders in Michigan, so you're sure to find many people just like you. Most of the people that live in Michigan love it there, even though they got a higher cost of living, and the state's kind of strict on who's moving in and stuff like that, so make sure you kind of check out all the laws about homesteading in Michigan before you actually make that jump. Michigan's about middle of the road when it comes to taxes. They're not terrible, but they're not the best, and their homeschooling laws are kind of weird, so definitely check into those. Number 9, Wyoming. We've been talking about the cowboy state fairly often these days. We've been doing a lot of videos and Wyoming's always there. Wyoming's not a bad place to call home, whether it's on or off the grid. In the last video, we talked about how Wyoming is the 10th largest state and has the absolute fewest residents. Yeah, there's not a lot of people living here, and there is a ton of open land. Wyoming also has a very low cost of living and a lot of land for raising animals and farming. The cowboy state is one of the cheaper states to buy land in, and it has no state income tax, so it's pretty cheap all around. People here enjoy incredibly low property taxes and relaxed homeschooling rules, and a lot of sunshine, which is great for solar power. They also are considered one of the windiest states in the country, so that's great for wind power. Throw yourself up a turbine and don't worry about anything. Now, a couple reasons not to is they don't get as much rain as a farmer would like, and they do get wildfires, which can be pretty scary and destroy all your crops. Number 8, Arkansas. Arkansas has a lot of things that would make you not want to move here. They also have a lot of cities and towns that really blow. The good news is, if you're homesteading, your time in the cities and towns will be limited, and that's a plus. Arkansas has a lot to offer, though, when it comes to homesteading. The state offers an unlimited homestead exemption, decent farmland costs, low cost of living, long growing season, plenty of water, and natural resources. They also have very relaxed homeschooling rules. It is hard to beat Arkansas when it comes to land. It's just beautiful. It's great here. But the natural state doesn't go light on sales or income tax. There aren't any tax credits for green energy that I could find, I should say. I didn't find any, and I've been looking at their page. Poverty is at an epidemic level in parts of the state, and the educational system isn't ideal. But like I said, if you're truly homesteading, these things probably won't be a big deal, and if you just stay on your farm and live the life you want to live as a homesteader, this is a great place to do it. Number 7, Iowa. Iowa is known for farming and boredom, so on the surface, it sounds perfect for homesteading. Iowa has an overall low cost of living, and seeing that homesteaders rarely pull in six-figure incomes, this is key. The Hawkeye State is a big farming state with a lot of open land that is considered reasonable. I mean, it's not the cheapest of all the farming type places, but it's decent. Chances are your neighbors will be farmers of different levels. There's all kinds of tax credits and stuff. Iowa has a 100% homestead exemption for up to 40 acres of rural land. They have low property taxes, very relaxed homeschooling laws, a solar credit for up to $5,000, and a family farm tax credit. Reasons you might not want to choose Iowa? They get a lot of flooding all the time. Flooding seems to be very big with them, and they get their share of tornadoes. Number 6, Oregon. Once you get past the chaos, which is Portland, you get to realize why Oregon is one of the best states we have for nature lovers. Actually, for anyone. Oregon's a great state other than the chaos we get with all our whatever. I don't even want to get into it. I'm so done with it. We have it all. Deserts, forests, rivers, endless creeks, lakes that look like they were made for movies, and a beautiful coastline. There's about 30,000 small farms and homesteads in the Beaver State. Oregon has no state sales tax, average property taxes, plenty of water, and not a whole lot of natural disasters. We don't get tornadoes, blizzards, hurricanes, or big earthquakes. We get little tremors occasionally, but you never feel them. They just tell us we had them. We get occasional flooding and wildfires, and that's about it. They have green energy tax rebates, all that good stuff. But the downsides are Oregon has a very high state income tax, and it may rain a little too much for some people. So keep those things in mind. Number 5, Indiana. Most of the state is farmland, and a lot of those are homesteading farms. The southern half of the Hoosier state is made for homesteading. It has fewer people and a longer growing season for your crops. Indiana is known as one of the best states to farm and to garden. They have relaxed homeschool laws and a low state income tax, which is always good when you're trying to homestead. This is a great state to raise a family and put down some long-term roots. The downside is they have a lot of farms, so finding affordable land might be challenging, so keep that in mind. They also get tornadoes, flooding, and Indiana has a high sales tax. But you can homestead here, and the people are decent. These are good people in Indiana. Most of them. Stay out of Indianapolis and you should be okay. Number 4, Missouri. Missouri is a very homestead-friendly state. You know, they should be. That's kind of how they got their start. The Show Me State has a lot of different areas that are good for homesteading farms. And you get all 4 seasons here, so that's kind of cool. The winters can get a little harsh occasionally, but there are far worse states in this part of the country when it comes to bad winters. They have a long growing season, and they get about 40 inches of rain a year, which, you know, should mean your crops will be pretty good. They have relaxed homeschooling laws and solar incentives, so that's good. Unfortunately, Missouri has a high state income tax and farmland costs. It is also prone to natural disasters like tornadoes and flooding, all that good stuff. They also have a couple of nuclear power plants, which, you know, really don't do good for your crops if something goes wrong. But I mean, hey, who doesn't enjoy glow-in-the-dark corn? I know I do. Number 3, North Carolina. North Carolina has a lot of farms. If you're not from this part of the country, you probably don't think of North Carolina as being big into farming like Iowa, Nebraska, or Kansas. But they are. They also have a good amount of homesteaders throughout the state, but a majority these days are finding the western section of the state, as you get into the hills, as an ideal place to be a homesteader. Homesteading in North Carolina is popular because of the land, the homestead declaration, rebate on green energy, low property taxes, and a long growing season. The cost of land here is kind of high. You know, it's a popular place, so it's going to be like that. And they're kind of tight asses when it comes to homeschooling your kids, so be prepared for that. Probably better for homesteaders that don't have kids. Number 2, Virginia. Virginia is one of the best states for farming and growing your own food. I guess it's also a good place to get away from meat. For some reason, I have like 3 ex-girlfriends that live in Virginia now. That's weird. I don't know why. Virginia is a lot like North Carolina when it comes to land and prices. The land is great, but it's going to cost you. The overall cost of living is high as well. Homeschooling laws are, you know, pretty strict, just like North Carolina. And the state is prone to natural disasters like hurricanes and flooding. But Virginia is also a great state for homesteading. They get plenty of rain, low property taxes, moderate sales tax, and they also have that program where you could like sell electricity back to the electric company, I guess. Yeah, you'd get enough solar panels, you could do that. But Virginia, for all its different problems with cost and all that other stuff, it is becoming a very, very popular state for homesteaders. When people are Googling homesteading, it's always one of the top 3 states they're looking at. It's really weird. Very popular. All right, before we get to number 1, don't forget to hit that subscribe button. Also, I'll leave some links to other videos that are similar to this one in the comment section below. So if you like this, click on one of those. Check out places where you can get cheap land. All right, on to number 1. And number 1, Idaho. People have been making their way to the gem state at an increased pace for the last decade or so. And it's not just homesteaders. People from all walks of life are putting down roots in Idaho. About 16% of the population in Idaho lives on farms. They're farmers. If you're a homesteader, that's great news. You'll probably have something in common with your neighbors. Idaho has a low-cost living, multiple tax incentives for green energy, low-cost land, relaxed homeschooling laws, and property tax exemptions. The people of Idaho have a reputation of being very neighborly unless you're from California. My advice is, if asked where you're coming from when you move there, just say prison. They will take that better than California. But be aware they do have really harsh winters sometimes, occasional flooding, wildfires, earthquakes, and they do have some high taxes. And like I said, they got a lot of people moving in there, and this has kind of started pushing land values up higher and higher. So the sooner you make that jump to homestead in Idaho, the better off you'll be. All right, that's today's video. Hope you guys enjoyed it. Hope you got some information out of it. Now everyone, go out, have a great day, and be nice to each other.